because it's the silly, stupid, fascinating, weird, wonderful. They're my people, and more often than not, they're the geeky people as well.
But this real sense that what you do as you emerge out of Middle Earth in your real life is you hope, because Tolkien's so good at capturing that.
I mentioned Betamax. For anybody older, that's the old version of a video cassette. A video cassette is an old version of a DVD. A DVD is not set in the cloud.
And I said, "Oh, I'm not happy. I've got bits wrong here." And she said, "Yeah, but that's all part of the learning process. That's all part of the. That makes it unique to you. That those kind of imperfections within it."
Good evening, folks. Welcome to the cul-de-sac of Faith and Geekery, where we take a peek from behind the net curtain and glimpse down the road of hobbies, interests, and welcome to, this episode. Tonight, my name is Mark, and it is always Mark, but tonight I'm joined...
My name.
I was going so well, and my name is Mark. This is...
Becca!
And...
Tom.
Hello, folks. How are we doing?
Hello, friends. Mark, you are particularly close to your microphone this evening.
Oh, am I? Do I need to turn it down?
Just a touch, because
How about now?
Oh, that's I can still hear the breathing, but
How about now?
amazing. It's catching
Okay?
your lovely deep tones without all of the noises of your nostrils. Hello, friends, and welcome.
Stephen says, hiya. He doesn't do that, but sorry.
Hiya. Hiya.
And I guess we start the week as we always start by asking, what geekiness have we been up to recently? And I've actually started to do my little subtitles, and people can see. I'm trying to point to it. Should have really
Down
pointed
at the
the other
bottom.
way.
What geeky
my
things
little
have you been up to?
It's just to remind myself what I've been up to. So
I
that when I
see.
ask. So it says that sound desk liaison officer, because earlier this week, as to say yesterday, I spent 2 hours with a faithful computer volunteer for church, trying to sort out why this all singing, all dancing streaming desk was not speaking to the computer. And after 2 hours, we realised that everything worked fine. It was the computer that didn't know how to deal with it. And so after 2.5 hours, we gave up.
Oh, that's painful.
Yeah, it's just very tedious, but there we are. Stephen said, I don't know if this counts as geeky, but I'm busy submitting a set of accounts to the Charities Commission.
Oh, that's geeky.
Nice.
That's definitely geeky.
That is bordering on nerdy, some might say.
Indeed.
I mean, there is also the self-thingy tax deadline coming up in the next couple of days.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
is that
Friday.
geeky, or is that just life?
That's
Well, I think we make things. It's how you approach it, isn't it?
mine's already done, because
What
I do
do you
mine
wonder?
on paper. So I have my
That's
deadline's at the
great.
end of October.
What
Very good.
do you have a special pen that you do it with? I bet you geekify it
No.
in some way, don't you?
No. I just desperately get it done about 3 days before the deadline, and then send it in next day delivery, because I'm like,
Which is why I do mine online. It gives me far longer, and I just have to press send.
yeah, you also have to pay for the software, and I refuse to pay for software in order to actually pay my taxes, so I do it on paper.
Fair enough.
I might have a word. Becca, where are you?
I have restarted listening to Red Rising, and I forgot how much I love it. Science fiction series set sometime in the future that then harks back to kind of Roman gods, and it's deeply political, and it's brilliant. I am so close to finishing mapping out the choreography for my Hercules mashup in my Second Life dance.
Fantastic.
I have overcomplicated it, unsurprisingly, and it potentially it's going to look amazing. I don't know if the level of effort will be clear if I share it in Discord, but I will show all the steps. But you can see all of the different markers for each timing and piece where you've kind of moved your character to being, and each one then needs the timing set and the sleep time set. And
Wow.
so yeah, but I've been doing that while listening to Designated Survivor, or Conscientious Objector, as I tried to call it the other day because I couldn't remember what it was called. You know, Conscientious Objector wasn't it? It was Designated Survivor.
Becky's been rewatching that as well. There must be something in the air. Can't quite put a finger on it. No, maybe not.
Netflix algorithms.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I
Nothing
suspect.
to do with anywhere in the country, in the world.
No, not at all.
Fair enough then. Let's move on.
Yes,
Whilst
turn
we
to paradigms.
evade that discussion. So
yes.
tonight we are going to be talking about food. So I guess I'm going to invite us to think about our comfort food, the foods that we go to, also kind of different sorts of foods that we enjoy and like. And so that's your kind of a heads up to get thinking of your culinary delight, or if you're starting off a bit peckish, then to find a snack or otherwise to kind of just to nibble on whilst we talk about food, because that could be quite stretching.
I just ate my very last Gillian chocolate shell. It was
very
delightful. I ate it mindfully. But yes, that was a very joyous moment. You know, the first time I had Gillian chocolate shells was on a ferry on the way to Holland on a school trip in 19 sometime.
And it's stuck with you ever since.
Exactly. I think there's something about food, isn't it, that carries memories. It's one of the conversations I have when I talk about kind of ethical consumerism and why I find it so difficult to consider going vegan, is because so many of the meals I have are tied into the memories of the people who are no longer with us.
Right,
So to let those go feels emotional. It feels painful.
Yeah. Well, we'll come on to food a little bit later, but before then, we'll come to the news.
This is the Faith and Geekery news, broadcast to your home and around the world.
Sorry, Tom, we seem to have cut you off just as you were about to say something there.
I was just going to ask whether you wanted to know what I'd been up to, but it's fine.
Oh, sorry, Tom. I thought you said about taxes.
And then come back to me.
I thought you said about taxes, you see.
Oh, no.
No.
No,
Sorry, it was Stephen.
And then come back to me. That's fine.
Yes, we'll come back to you. Give you more time to think about it. Yeah. Whoopsie. Welcome to Geeky News. There's a number of pictures on the screen for the podcast listeners. I'll try and do my best to describe them. First of all, there is Dungeons and Dragons Forgotten Realms subclasses coming out as part of the Unearthed Arcana. So this is their kind of continuation of the 50th years, the new kind of publishing of all the new kind of D&D stuff. So this is kind of yet another publication. It's almost as if they're trying to make money out of the franchise. I could possibly not comment. There's also something which one of our listeners, viewers mentioned a while back about the Twits, and basically I got told that they have a family member who is an animator for the Twits, and so they kind of let us know that Netflix is intending to have a limited cinema release of the Twits film. So that sounds quite exciting. So I imagine following the success of Wallace and Gromit, they're going to do kind of that as well, to kind of release it across Netflix as well. Because was there a limited cinema release for that as well? But not in this country, I think.
No, because I think BBC would have stopped it.
Yeah, maybe not then. Okay, moving on. New Lego pieces coming up, and also there's a few bits and pieces here which I've just kind of thrown in together. I'm going to start off from the bottom though. 97th Oscar nominations have dropped, even though in March there's 10 films for the Best Picture, which there's some shots there. So amongst those, there are June. It is I'm Still Here, Wicked, Anora, the Elvis Presley pick, and Emilia Perez, and The Brutalist, and things such as that. Sonic 4 has been sped through because I'm fairly sure it's very successful. 3 other films have been going so well that they're going to release date of March the 19th, 2027, to make sure that we don't forget about that. Bizarrely, there's been a Just Stop Oil protest with Sigourney Weaver and The Tempest, and I find this fascinating because Becky and Jenny were there just last week. Was it just last week or the week before? Recently, and so if they'd come this week, they would have seen Just Stop Oil, adorning the stage. And then there's 2 other bits and pieces which I thought I'd mention. It's just one of these. Wyn Evans has come away from the Strictly tour due to inappropriate comments and has apologised, taking some time out. But also, Noel Fielding has come away from Dick Turpin season 2, and therefore they think it's cancelled. They may be able to put something together, but it's very rare for it to completely stop halfway through kind of filming and production. So I think that's a little bit of an unknown. I think there is concerns for Noel. And to be honest, there's a lot of British concern for the Bake Off, but life is bigger than the Bake Off, believe it or not. And I think that is the news. Anything to say whilst I keep these pictures up?
The Lego. I know that the person who shared the news in Discord was focused on the Netflix, the link with the Netflix show that's coming up that's tie-in with Lego.
Is it?
Really,
sorry, I missed that.
No, not my kind of thing. But what I'm excited about is they have announced today, Lego, that alongside several of their other Lego art pieces, they are doing a second Van Gogh, and they are doing the sunflowers. So, as someone who already owns Starry Night and whose favourite painter is Van Gogh,
Lego Starry Night.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, not the actual one that I have kindly lent to MoMA just to show on their wall. They're doing. They've worked with the Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam, and they are, going to produce that. It's up for pre-order for insiders already, and will release on the 1st of March. And I am very, very excited for that.
That is very cool. I've got an interesting fact regarding the sunflowers. I was once walking through there, and I listened to a bit of a tour from one of the gallery people. Don't know what the phrase you call them. Curators, thank you. And basically, they were sharing the fact that the official people that moved the painting in the London Gallery were not. They were stuck in traffic, and there was going to be a big kind of presentation, and so they were trying to kind of go to and fro and talk about how they're going to do this, because it was a big press thing. And so do we kind of stall it? Do we do this? Do we do? And in the end, they gave him permission to lift it off the wall and to move it from one place to another. And basically, he said it was the most tense kind of moment of his life, picking up this priceless picture. But he said what was really amazing is that as he lifted it up, he could see the transparency through the canvas, and he could see kind of the gold and the yellow kind of petals just kind of transformed by the sunlight, even through the kind of, obviously it can't be kind of strong sunlight, but it was just kind of quite in
a way you'd never
memorable.
see it. Yeah,
and that has always stuck with me, that kind of comment, thinking, wow, that sounds really cool. It's a shame there isn't a picture. Obviously, there's a painting. But yes, so that's cool.
The power of light.
Indeed. So that is the end of Geeky News. So returning back to Tom and the marvellous things that he's been doing.
I wouldn't go marvellous. So the reason it was in my mind, though, is that I'm continuing a theme from last week's in terms of storage. one of the geeky things that I have been doing has been working out how many storage, really useful box storage I need for all the models that I'm going to have to move up the A140 in the summer to Norwich from where I currently live. So that's been, well, it's still an ongoing project. Having not quite got all the boxes I need, I now need to magnetize lots of bases and get them so that when the removal men move the boxes, the models don't move inside and get all bashed about, which is a little challenge when you're moving models around. So I've been doing that. That's been my main focus, but I've also been doing a bit of I found a couple of tournaments to play in on Saturdays, so I've been doing a little bit of building and painting of models that I really need in my list, because if I'm going to go to the tournament, I kind of want to make sure I've got the units that work the best. And today getting very excited about the news about the new Lego model that I wasn't aware was coming until today. So
wait, is that the sunflower one, or is that another one?
No, the sunflower one.
Sunflower
It
one.
literally just announced today, and I was just like, ah!
That is so cool.
Do we know how much it's going to be?
100.
How much was the
100? I think. Well, they have announced the price. I think it's 130 or 140. It's slightly more expensive than I think the previous ones, because it's slightly larger. They've done it at a slightly larger size because it is one of his larger paintings. So
yeah,
wow, that's
nice.
Fantastic. Are we going to lose Becca by googling it?
Yeah, I know. I need to pay attention. You know, at the end of the day, when you know that your attention is waning just for anything, I do end up kind of jumping around.
So, to keep our attention, to keep focus, we're now going to come to the quiz. However, before we get to the exact quiz, we are going to go through a little bit of a journey. We're going to go a bit of a journey because, first of all, I mean, last year we started off with Quizalicious. That was kind of the title of the quiz. And I think I've got this one here. That was our little kind of theme to begin with. Starting a new year was this one. And already that started to grate on people.
Already that has been retired.
Yes, and already it's been retired because we put out an announcement. We said, could anybody kind of, feel free to kind of contribute. So Note Just did a fantastic piece. And I'm not going to play that right here because Tim's just said a quick howdy. What was that? A quick howdy. Hey, from the Methodist training session. Enjoy the quiz. We're about to come to that. Note Just did this fantastic 30-second kind of riff and music thing, and this is the moment to plug the Discord because you can hear the original there, and that was fantastic. The only problem was that he didn't realize is that I need only about 5 seconds. So I did two things. First of all, I did a snippet of it, which is this one.
The quiz.
However, I also did one of the whole thing sped up, just like the recent one. So this is the sped up version of 30 seconds in 5 seconds. Which is just fantastic. However, Note Just did come back with his own edited version. And so, if your pens and paper are ready,
without further ado,
here comes the quiz.
I got questions. The quiz.
Yay!
Oh, so good.
I thought you'd like that little journey that we took there.
Oh, that was a great journey.
So here we go with the quiz, and we're going to just for people who are unaware if this is the first time or you've had a break. The quiz basically is Tim is going to has pre-recorded the quiz, and we're going to pause it at vital moments and see what funny way we can pause him, as well as reflect on the questions and otherwise.
And then gently mock him in his absence.
I wasn't going to mention that, but
Gently. Okay.
Lightly.
I'll tone it down.
Light.
It does seem to happen that way, doesn't it? But a light mocking,
affectionately.
jovial, affectionate. Yes, I think that sounds
Affectionate
about right.
mockery.
So, without further ado, let us play the quiz.
He didn't turn up.
Quiz. Hi, welcome to the Faith Geekery quiz on this January the 28th of the year of our Lord 2025. I'm Tim Ann and I'll be hosting the quiz this evening. You should know the rules by now. Please, pen, paper, write down your answers to these 5 questions. The reward? Bragging rights and a sense of personal achievement on a Tuesday evening. Or, if you're listening to this on the podcast, whenever you're listening to this on the podcast. The way this is going to run, I'm going to ask the questions. I will read the questions out twice. There'll be a short pause for Mark and or Becca to pause the video during the middle of that. And then, once all 5 questions have been asked, I'll give you all the answers. Whoever's got the most points, well done on you. Without further ado, let's start with question number 1. Name one of the dishes mentioned in the song Be Our Guest from Beauty and the Beast. Name one of the dishes mentioned in the song Be Our Guest.
Pause there for a moment.
I've got it.
I'm guessing. I actually can't think of any.
I've actually seen it. So,
Oh, really?
no.
Question number 2. In what service style is most Western cuisine based on? French, Russian, Italian, or British? In what service style is most Western cuisine based on? French, Russian, Italian, or British?
Okay, this is really going to baffle me because I think I'm already overthinking it. So I'm going to go for something like that.
I want to see other examples of other service styles now.
Well, I'm trying to work out whether it means like is it the ordering of it? Because I've realised, because wasn't there once upon a time where you just bring everything out and you just have a mixture of it all together, and I don't know if that's it or whether it's like the actual. Anyway, I'm not going to give you any hints or lead you further down a warren that I seem to be going down. So let's move on. He does realise that when we pause him, he just stops.
Question number 3. According to an online poll from Ocado, collected in 2024, other food delivery companies are available, what is the most popular comfort dish in the UK? According to the online poll from Ocado, collected in 2024, other online delivery companies are available, what is the most popular comfort dish in the UK? I will accept either the top savoury or the top sweet answer. There'll be a bonus point if you can guess both correctly.
All right, okay.
Thank you. Oh,
comfort dish.
Comfort dish, sweet
dish. That's going to throw me as well. I'll keep on
overthinking. Yeah, that term throws me.
Well, meal.
Yeah, but a meal is more than a dish. Feels like one item within a meal rather than.
I just don't know.
Don't know.
I'm just going to pause.
Yeah, you're overthinking it.
Yeah, but I say I'm overthinking it, but I haven't had more than one yet with this. Oh no, I've got 2 maybe. I've got more than 2.
Play on.
I am. It's already playing.
Question number 4. Which TV chef holds the record for being the youngest chef to ever earn 3 Michelin stars? Which TV chef holds the record for being the youngest chef to earn 3 Michelin stars? And I can hear you, Becca. Here is a hint. Here are 2 quotes from that chef. Mother Nature is the true artist, and our job as cooks is to allow her to shine. And I have no regrets in my life. If not for the mistakes that I made, I would not be the man I am today.
Mm,
Oh,
that was not a person. That's not helpful.
so it's not Delia then.
No.
Not Delia. And also, Norwich City are the best football team. Oh, thank you. That would have been a great clue.
Yes. Oh, I feel as if I'm. Oh, yes, indeed. Pause for dramatic effect whilst my head explodes.
There's several that it could be.
I know. I'm going to put a second one down just in case. but I know I'm not going to get the point for it, but just for my state of mind. Here we go. Question number 5. He's pausing again, you see, for dramatic.
And question number 5. Within French cuisine and French cooking, Escoffier noted that there are 5 mother sauces that are the basis for all other smaller sauces or daughter sauces, according to French cooking. Name one of the mother sauces. You will gain a point for each correct mother sauce that you identify. That question again. The mother sauces are the base sauces for all other smaller sauces, according to French cooking and Escoffier. Name one of the mother sauces. You will gain a point for each correct answer that you give.
Oh. Does anybody need any longer? Or are we just going to stare into the void? If I'm honest, I've got 3 potential answers. Not sure if any of them are correct, but let's give it a go, shall we? Let's see you on the other side of these answers.
I might be going for a bagel here.
Are you done? Well then, let's get to some answers. I'm sure all of you were slowly singing "Be Our Guest" in your heads.
Yes.
One of those
not
dishes
in my
you
head.
could have mentioned, and you'll get a point if your dish is mentioned. Soup de jour, hors d'oeuvres, the grey stuff. Beef ragout, cheese soufflé, pie and pudding, en flambe. If you name one of them, you get a point.
I put souffle.
Extra one,
Do I get that?
Was it cheese souffle?
No, just
The
souffle.
bonus one, you still only get 1 point.
I mean, it does specify
Question number
quite
2.
clearly.
In what service
Cheese.
style is
Half
most
a
of
point.
Western cuisine based on? The
Half a
answer
point.
is Russian service.
Gosh.
Russian service is where pre-portioned plates are brought out to you in course order.
Yeah.
French style is when lots of different courses are all on the table and you serve yourself. There are no Italian or
I
British
shouldn't.
serving styles.
I
They
shouldn't
were
have
red herrings.
chastised myself. I was going to.
Question
go
number
down
3.
Got the
According
grey
to the
stuff.
online
It's
poll from
delicious.
Ocado collected 2024, other food delivery companies are available. What is the most popular comfort dish in the UK? Well, if you answered roast dinner or
dish
apple pie / apple crumble,
yes,
you got a correct point. If you answered both, you get a bonus point.
No. This is
roast dinner as comfort food.
That's weird.
I also wouldn't consider that a dish either.
No,
but obviously
That's a whole. That's a whole meal.
Yeah. So I'd put sausages and mash, but I realised that could be a meal.
Casserole and dumplings.
I put ice cream and tomato soup.
Yeah, I put toffee
I
pudding
also
as well.
put apple crumble and custard.
Oh,
so I did get a point on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I went for toffee pudding because again, I thought dish, like you could put in a dish rather than like a whole meal.
Sticky toffee pudding.
But Tim is the quiz master, so we can't argue
well,
with him.
and I trust his sources.
His sources. Nice.
See, that was good.
Holds
the
record
sorry.
for being the youngest chef with 3 Michelin stars. That answer is Marco Pierre White.
Yeah.
Who famously trained Gordon Ramsay and others. And is still
I did
quite a
put
good
down Gordon
chef,
Ramsay.
Even
and then
has
crossed him
more
out.
Stockpot adverts.
I put Tom Kerridge down.
And question number 5. The 5 mother sauces in French cuisine
this is my moment.
are Bechamel,
Yes.
Veletu,
Nope.
Don't know what that is.
Espagnole, Tomato,
Yes.
and Hollandaise.
Yes.
So if you answered
I
one
don't
of
know
them,
what.
you got a point. If you answered more than one of them, you get a bonus point for each correct one you have.
Oh, well done.
So 4,
Right.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 possible points in this 5-question quiz. How many did you
5.
get? Please let us know in the comments. And with that being said,
5 out of
we will
10.
see you again. Until next time, quizzers.
What a dork.
Nice.
Do we get the new quiz doodah at the end?
Yes, if I press the button quick enough.
I got questions. The quiz.
We've come to the end of the quiz.
Already very popular.
Absolutely. And that's just here in the room. I think I did rubbish. I only got 1.5 there. I put things like consommé and jus because I assumed they were things, but yeah.
I did
when you
put
gave
a
the
beef
answers-
stock, or well, no, I put a stock or a meat stock, but I didn't know what that was in French. Frenchy language, but that also has isn't thickened. Gravy is what that one would be, isn't it? Espanol.
So,
Gravy.
Mm.
Thickened stock.
I feel as if Jamie Oliver was taking part with Jay's quiz and he asked a similar question and Jamie Oliver got it wrong. So I don't feel too bad. But yeah, I only got 1.5. So
I got
never
2.
mind.
Oh, I've got 5. I got
That's really well
5
done.
people. 5 whole points out of 10.
That is very, very good indeed.
Marco Pierre White was an absolute just guess
I don't
based on
know.
the quotes, because I've heard him in interviews and things, and while I hadn't heard those quotes, they sounded like Marco Pierre White, so I thought I'm going to go for Marco Pierre White just on the off chance.
When will I have seen
Very
him?
good.
Has he been
Did you
in
see the
stuff?
Knorr adverts?
Oh, I
Yeah,
have
it's
seen
in
him in
the
stuff.
No adverts.
Yeah. So we should mention on the bottom of the screen, Stephen says, I was beginning to think that normal service had resumed, but I ended up with 1. And then Sam had also put worse than last time, got only 1 out of 10 this week. I feel as if you're part of the club. I feel part of the club, and Becca is way ahead. So, with the quiz, with news out of the way, we're going to return back to our subject of food. And yes, where do we sit with food? Do we occasionally have it, or do we dismiss it?
Just once in a while. I don't really have it very often, but once in a while I find I kind of need it, just for the sake of it, really. How's that cheeseburger going, by the way?
Yes, folks. Before we started, I was handed magically through the side. I received
A McDonald's
cheeseburger.
porthole in the door of your other fast food suppliers are available.
Yes, I was given it because my daughter, turns out she was ravenous, even though I had cooked some stir-fried chicken with vegetable spring rolls and vegetable gyoza, and she
Banquet.
She managed to clear up a lot of that, and yet still was coming back from brownies ravenous. So there was a quick order via somewhere. I think they are both growing, however, at great speed. So I think they are just bottomless at the moment, as is sometimes. So yes, that has been finished though before we even came online, because I didn't want to.
Your hearing, I want to say your taste buds, but your hearing buds, what are they called? Your ears.
Ears.
What do we call those things that are not our tongue, but we hear with them?
It feels like the mermaid. It feels like. What's that?
Well,
Feet.
thanks. Your hearing buds will be very grateful, our dear listeners, for the absence of the. Is it gluttural? What's that noise? What's the noise called?
Guttural.
It's not. There's another word for it. That sound in the back of your throat. I can't remember what it's called. Anyway,
annoying. I think we came to this,
Moist, squelchy. Sorry,
which
for those
also
of
helped
you
diagnose that
birds.
my microphone was too loud because it was picking up all of those sounds.
All of the
So very
chewing.
glad.
all of
the
those
swallowing.
chewing noises.
Mm,
You're welcome,
Yes.
everybody.
nice.
To get us started a little bit though, I asked a question on our Discord group. Oh, another plug for the Discord.
Mm.
The link
You
is in
join
the
us.
Jubilee.
You know where we are.
I asked the question, what's your go-to comfort food? And Mendip, Tom, said quick hit. And I really like this, that you started strong by kind of giving like the quick go-to and the actual meal, because I think that is kind of important, isn't it? It depends on the context. So you put McDonald's strawberry milkshake and then bangers and mash with baked beans. Fantastic. Tim,
I like it was interesting that though, because you specifically asked about comfort food. So I quite happily eat bangers and mash with gravy or onion gravy. I like it a lot. But if you ask if it's proper comfort food, it's got to be baked beans rather than gravy.
Oh,
Yeah,
Oh.
I get that.
textural issues with baked beans and mashed potatoes together is a thing.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
Tim, Quizmaster, had put a quick grab Shin Ramen pot and actual meal corned beef hash or cottage pie.
Oh,
Well, that is going down that similar kind of avenue, isn't it? Of like mash and, gloopy,
mash and
depending on
something.
how you do it. Specky Geek has put chocolate. I just eat so much chocolate, which, yeah, I get that. Completely not me. Notes just Subway. And then, Tom, you go into a monologue about the horrors of no longer offering mustard. But I won't go there. So,
we
folks,
won't. I could take the whole night up going on about that.
So, folks, please make a comment about what is your go-to comfort food, and I'm sure we can talk about our comfort food and launch into other conversations around food.
Yeah, there were
Becca?
a number of comfort food.
Go on.
Yeah, Becca first.
What my comfort food is? Gravy. Anything with gravy. I have lived up and down the United Kingdom, but when it comes to my palate, gravy and chips. From living in Manchester. There's just something about gravy and chips with far too much vinegar. I also then absolutely soak it in vinegar. And then I did some teacher training in, I think it was near Stoke, and you could get gravy, chips, and cheese, which I then also flooded with vinegar. And yeah, that I wouldn't have that often, but there is something about that was just a bit magic.
I quite like chip shop curry sauce as well. Chips and curry sauce.
If there's a choice between curry sauce and gravy, I'll go gravy. But I think that's in loyalty to how I pronounce my vowels more than anything.
Did you say pronounce vowels or bowels?
My vowels.
Okay,
my vowels. We don't want to talk about my bowels and food. Thank you.
Stephen Jones put gravy and chips were my daily staple during my first year at uni.
Where was uni? I suspect it was north of Birmingham, because the more southerly you go, the less likely you are to be able to get gravy and chips. I despaired when we moved to London, and you could not get gravy and chips. You could only get curry sauce.
Wow.
Cheesy chips and cheesy chips with gravy were both quite big staples in Liverpool where I was at uni.
Yeah.
So.
I'm a fan of gravy and chips. I'm a fan of vinegar and chips. I'm a fan of cheesy chips. I'm also a fan of chip spice on chips, which is very much a Hull, East Yorkshire thing. Yeah, I can say
what's in chip spice?
Paprika, garlic, sugar, MSG, that kind of thing. I think it's MSG. I'm assuming it's MSG.
That is why I use a certain brand of gravy powder, because it's the only way I know how to get MSG into my house without going to a Chinese supermarket. Johannesburg is definitely further south than Birmingham.
Yeah, it's a bit.
Yeah,
it's a bit.
I had a feeling about that. I know Stephen, as I was expecting, but didn't want to spoil it. Yeah. So for me, chips, especially kind of East Yorkshire. But then again, it depends on when I'm comforting myself and if I'm feeling a little bit parched or if I've had a number of beverages on an evening, then
Surely never happens.
then the spicy, then the chip spice chips, it just quenches the spot because they are very salty and dehydrate you. But yes, they're very nice and very, very nice. Especially if they're straight. Gone.
I was just going to say, in the Netherlands, they eat their chips with peanut sauce, with pinda sauce.
Oh wow!
Which is basically like satay. It's a bit satay. It's like more like satay
Yeah.
sauce. So chips with satay sauce. It's actually
And
quite
Canada, it is cheese whey, is it? Cheese.
Oh,
It's a
wow.
bit like cottage cheese, but
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
It's kind of
Yeah,
in
yeah.
between cottage cheese and mozzarella, that kind of texture, and gravy.
Very good. So the other thing for me is depending on how I'm feeling, because then if I'm feeling kind of luxurious and for like a bit of a treat, then I will get some queso salad. It's like the seaweed Japanese style salad, which I just love. Yo sushi every day of the week, or other places are available with it, but it's it's not as
Yo
common.
sushi has always been our Christmas shopping trip meal. You know, when you're going for that long slog of all the Christmas meals, and I'm sure you two have it a lot, where you've eaten so many Christmas dinners by the time you've got to Christmas Day, that Yo sushi was just the complete other end of a British roast dinner. So yeah, we used to do that. It was quite fun.
I think we've done Itsu a bit more regularly now as well, just because
Nice.
it's slightly cheaper and it's quick, very quick food. But we like that too.
if it's the quick stuff, and if it's needing a hit, if it's real kind of like I am really kind of utterly stressed down in the dumps and I just need to shove something nice in my face, then it is American style kind of soft cookies and donuts. I developed a massive love of both those things when I lived in the States, and I mean, it helps that Cookie Monster is my favorite ever kind of Muppet-like character, because he's Sesame Street and not a Muppet. But for all those geeks out there, but yeah, cookies and donuts. But we don't really have very much access to those around here. Hence, I've developed a real kind of thing for McDonald's strawberry milkshakes instead, because we have several McDonald's around here, and I can just go in and get a strawberry milkshake. But really, yeah, cream-filled American donut or ring donuts and proper decent soft American cookies.
It's amazing the play that texture has in the food. If you could only describe food based on its texture, then that and it almost doesn't matter what the texture is, but my memory and experience of food is as much about the texture as it is about anything else. I've started having ready brek recently, and that texture is pure mush, but there's something just really satisfying about the wallpaper paste that it is.
There is something about giving your teeth a holiday every so often, and I think that goes with the the corned beef hash or the mash with beans. You know, I think that is a bit of a. But again, is this the association that we've said about? You've said about kind of chips,
warm, mild taste. Yeah.
But it's the associations. As soon as you said ready brek, that takes me back to like being 7, 8 on a winter's school morning, and therefore I don't really like ready brek because of that association. but when I do have it, then I would kind of put a bit of golden syrup on, because it does take me straight back there. Because that is that association thing rather than actually the taste of it.
I can picture the. Is it Formica, that old plastic tabletop, the kind of mottled
Formica,
of sitting, and almost knowing exactly where the cracks were that I would sit and pick at when no one was looking, and sitting beside the window in the kitchen. Now those are really, really early memories in the house in Lincoln, Mark, before the kitchen was all extended. But that kind of the whole feel of it, almost feeling the cold of the window. Now my memory is absolutely rubbish, but what food does in holding that story of being
Mhm.
able to feel the cold of the window in the kitchen as we sat with, and how we had these little plastic egg cups that were just feet, so it looked like Humpty Dumpty when the egg was sat in it. But that instantly opens up, and that's the incredible thing about our brains and the way kind of we hold memory, not just by kind of an ordered sequence of events, but also by the sensations we have, by the music we remember listening to, by the physical sensations we were having. I think that's why food holds such a central thing in society, in the way that we gather. And one of my colleagues working for international development, he said, if I spend my budget on paying for the fatted calf or the goat, so that everybody comes together and eats it, that is money well spent, because of what is going on when we kind of gather together around food. It's holding the story, it's holding our memories, and there's something really magical about food.
Yeah.
Amen.
Absolutely.
Indeed.
It's good, isn't it? Because food does have that association. It does have that kind of ability to transport you to a place, to a time, to a moment. Just like, I don't know about you, but like toffee apples, for example, it's like the straight to kind of we used to be down the road from Hull Fair, so it kind of puts us there. Jacket potatoes outside, it's immediately
wrapped in tin foil.
Kind of bonfire night completely.
The person who gave me the jacket potato wrapped in, I remember them doing that. I remember the glove touching my hand. It's just
I wonder whether, without going on a massive, huge 3-hour rant about mustard, I do wonder though, with you saying that, whether my absolute annoyance at the fact that Subway have ditched offering mustard is that my favorite sandwich from Subway takes me all the way back to living in Mississippi. That's where I first had Subway, was living in Mississippi. And that's what I had, was that particular sandwich with mustard. And they've taken something out. It's not the same thing anymore.
Away from you.
So it's no longer a connection, a direct connection with that experience of living in the States.
And knowing that about yourself, exactly. But knowing that about yourself, recognizing, actually, I'm not irritated that you've made a decision. I'm feeling loss, pain, whatever, that you've taken my opportunity to go back to that moment and relive it. That's a really legitimate emotion. And so quickly we will write off those emotions as, you shouldn't be angry with the shopkeeper, it's not their fault, to you're feeling understandable loss at a memory that you were looking forward to. I think that's a really helpful thing.
I'm not going to post up that comment, by the way, just because there's a connection there that they don't want to share things, but I will mention the comment, which is basically my mum's chocolate buns. And basically my mum was renowned, and is still renowned, for her chocolate buns. And growing up in the Stennett household, we used to have dozens upon dozens of them cooked on a Saturday morning for ahead of coffee mornings and things like that. They were kind of quite infamous in the local area, and there is something that is just fantastic about those chocolate buns.
Is this something we could share on? Is this a recipe that is shareable, Mark?
No. I'm not allowed to share it. Allowed to share it. However, about a year ago, I went back to my mum's, and there was the question of, is there some buns? And Mum was like, yes, there is. And brought them through, and I took one bite. I was like, what have you done? And she's like, what do you mean? And I said, you've changed the recipe. She went,
oh no,
I didn't think you'd notice. And I was like, I jolly well have, because these taste rubbish. She was a little bit offended, but she'd cut down on the fat and the sugar because she was trying to be healthier. And I was like, and therefore, Mum, these are no longer your buns.
This Christmas we went down to I actually took time off. We were down at my parents', and it occurred to me, with my mum approaching turning 80 next year, so not this year but next year, that at some point I am going to have to face the realities of what life includes, and therefore I needed the recipe for my mum's Christmas fudge. So I now have the recipe but fudge, or tablet as it technically is in her case, is a tricky thing. So I'm
It
going to
is.
have to experiment numerous times to try and make sure that I can work out
Can you
exactly how
please
to get it
describe
right.
the texture of the? Is it tablet in that it feels a bit like Kendall mint cake, or is it tablet but it feels a bit squidgy widgy?
So it would be it's softer than Kendall mint cake, but
Okay.
it still has a little bit of that crystalline nature to
Okay.
it. So it's not the squidgy fudge. It's not squidgy fudge
See, I
like you
love
get
that
in a.
squidgy fudge.
Oh, I love it as well. I
I'm
absolutely
a
love
bit
it.
offended by tablet.
Oh no! So my mum has a way of doing. I mean, obviously it's different every time when it's handmade, but unless you're a real kind of expert, but yeah, it's kind of, it is, when it's first made, there is a softness to it, but it's still got a slight crystalline texture to it. As you leave it in the box, it does harden up. So if you, and I don't like it once it gets too hard, so I do try.
How many days is it allowed to stay in the box, Tom?
Well, if it's just down to me, like none, it gets eaten, all of it. Like,
and
It's the correct
is there a memory that takes you back to that eating that fudge?
Not a specific one, only in the sense, only because I think just it associates with kind of all family Christmases when I was young. I mean, my mum was always in charge of the kitchen, but I mean, Christmas food for me, what's in the Christmas, it's really funny, you know, people always talk about, oh, what's in Christmas dinner, and actually I really don't give a monkey's what's in Christmas dinner. What I give monkeys about is there homemade fudge, is there homemade shortbread, and is there a fry up on Boxing Day? Those are the things that matter to me, because those are the things that made Christmas. Christmas roast, well, you know, I mean, we had goose, we had duck, we had turkey, you know. I have recently got into, you know, I'd happily have a Christmas dinner that was kind of pigs in blanket, and some more pigs in blanket, really. One year I am going to just make a giant pig in blanket as Christmas dinner. No turkey, no nothing like that, just pig in blanket, massive great pig in blanket.
I've got to say, this year we had our turkey and it was disappointing, but then I'd gone to Iceland and got a frozen goose kind of joint or something, and kind of introduced the family to goose. But for me, there was this bigger association that when we were growing up, we used to have goose, and I used to kind of always look towards my friends going, oh, I can't believe everyone else has turkey, you know, and I just hadn't realised. But my granddad reared the geese. We had an occasional day off school to go and cull the geese, and then we would be plucking the geese, and then we would draw the geese. Sorry, this should have come with a trigger warning, sorry, but farming life, that's what we did. And there is a lot of kind of family memory associated with that. So even just eating kind of the goose on Boxing Day this year, it was just a flood of memories of that kind of growing up, because we used to have it the day with the cousins as well, you know, all that kind of stuff. And I guess I'm aware of time, and we've talked about food an awful lot, but
yes, if you're hungry and you haven't eaten, we're really, really sorry.
We do apologize,
but I think there is something here about soul food, and actually that there is kind of some food that can just help make you pause or really ground you. I don't know if that's a near a spicy thing, but there is some food for me. I just kind of can help me just ground myself and just be like, yeah, here I am. And it doesn't have to always be the spiciest or the most exciting. I'm really in a spell of having Asian style broth at the moment, and that can change recipe, but it's very much a broth with kind of big floaty bits of prawns and otherwise in it, you know, and that for me is something that helps just kind of make me pause at lunchtime, makes me stop and cook it, you know, and it can be cooked within 20-25 minutes, leave it to cool for 5, and then just enjoy it quietly, and I really kind of treasure it, and really, it's
difficult to rush eating a broth because it's so obviously, I know this is an obvious statement, but broth is wet. You know, there's there's stuff that is neat and tidy to eat. You know, you can eat a packet of crisps, you can eat some chips, but with broth, because you've got to concentrate balancing the liquid on your spoon and getting hot liquid to your mouth without spilling it down your top, there is something really kind of slow and mindful. It just allows you to sink into that richness.
Different styles as well. So thinking about it. So I mean, my equivalent of the broth would be, because I do like cooking, but in terms of during the day and things, you know, Heinz cream of tomato soup is one of those foods that, or tomato sandwiches, literally tomato sandwiches, which I was reminded of when I was watching Reacher, first series of Reacher, and they have tomato sandwiches, and I was reminded of tomato sandwiches, which are quite a Southern American thing. So, but there are certain foods, I think, even when it's not comfort food as such, that slow you down, because that's what. So, Italian food, especially if you go to an Italian restaurant, I don't think you can rush eating in an Italian restaurant. You just have to take your time eating, especially a good spaghetti carbonara.
That's why I get mussels. I really like mussels, because then you get to pick at your food and play with it, and it's a whole.
There's no rushing that, is there? Really?
No, not at all.
I've actually had a bit of absence away from. I got food poisoning from mussels last year. But I agree with you. Mussels are fantastic. I've grown up near the seaside. We always used to have seafood, ocean sticks, mussels, cockles, all that kind of stuff. My kids, their noses go up completely and utterly.
Mine have done.
Yeah, the oldest sometimes, occasionally, will kind of
I tell them now, you won't like it, and now they want to eat my prawns. So I'm not sure that was a good idea.
But yeah, so I'm aware of time. We could have talked about various ways in which spirituality
There's lots
and food.
of geekiness around food. Maybe we'll have a second banquet, or we can have a dessert on another occasion. We'll come back to food, because there's so many. There's movies around food. So if you've watched Babette's Feast, what is it, Chocolat? Even something like Santa Claus the movie, remembering watching the boy watching a girl eat some chips from it, but just the kind of what's going on in storytelling when food is a part of the whole story. So let's come back with dessert on another occasion.
Yeah, definitely.
Very stylized food. Because I think this all came from the fact that you'd suddenly realised that we'd actually not really talked about food as a geeky thing. And obviously it's too big to fit into one episode. So we'll definitely have to do this. Very quickly, we're going to come to Geeky Gallery. And we're going to start off with Steve talking about... So my son has just had these delivered today, interested in what people who roleplay think about them, as someone who hasn't played in a while. So I spun it around the other way so it would fit in the screen so people could read it. It's Heart. I've not come across Heart before, but it looks very... Is it warlike or otherwise? I'm not fully sure.
Yeah, I don't know. But not familiar with that one.
But he'd shared that.
Looks interesting.
Specky Geek talked about Tau Pathfinder. I actually, again... This looks like Warhammer to me, but
it's Kill Team, Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team. So it's
fantastic.
It's a skirmish game rather than full army game. So it's each model is a separate unit character.
Fantastic. Oh, okay, get that.
Played on smaller boards.
Yeah. So rather than you bring your whole army, you just play with one figure.
Just play one effectively. Well, you play with one squad, and each figure in the squad is a separate unit. So you kind of.
That makes sense. Okay, then yourself. This is you're talking about your magnets and your storage. So here's a picture which I managed just to tag on. Because it's just
that was quick.
So, I'll ask on Discord. I want to understand what you're doing with the magnets. So, are you doing a
so it's easy to explain with a
sheet on the bottom of the box and then magnetizing your?
The box has a kind of semi-magnetic rubbery surface put on the bottom of the box, so a sheet on the box, and then the magnets go in the bases of in the bottom of the bases of the models, and then you stick them on them. Because they're modern high strength magnets, you can literally turn the box upside down and the models won't fall off.
Wow.
Have you glued that sheet to the bottom of the box?
It's got the plants I plan on getting are self-adhesive But yeah, so it's a
Right,
glue.
okay.
It's a glue.
Yeah.
I was going to say, then, can you do that with your Lego as well? Just the whole.
Would you put a magnet in a Lego
No.
brick?
No.
No.
I was joking.
There must
I was
be.
joking.
Someone has made Lego magnets that just push into the bottom of one.
Oh,
That would
probably,
be quite
probably.
Mm.
No,
But
we
I
plan
don't
on
think
asking
Lego
them.
is stable enough to.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Even if the base stops, everything else may just
Yes, I
fall off.
suppose.
and
Unless you magnetised every single.
everything.
Oh, God. I mean, we've kept the boxes for the Lego, the actual boxes, so we could take them apart, bag them up, and put them away, and then have to rebuild them. We are going to ask the removal company for their advice on how they think Lego should best be moved.
Okay, that's
But
nice.
the models, I know, I've got enough contacts with models to know that this is the best way of having them move, because you don't want to end up having to try and individually wrap them or anything. Lego models at least are big enough that if they say, yeah, just don't bother taking them apart, they can be wrapped and boxed, that's fine. But that's not the case.
Yes,
with
I
the
suppose
models,
if there's equal pressure pushing down on all directions of a Lego model, depending on how many opposable thumbs it has.
I think the last time I moved, I took them in the car with my guitars. It's like Lego guitars. Stay back.
I haven't got enough space in both our cars put together to carry our Lego models.
Wow. Well, blimey. Well, that's the end of Geeky Gallery. Thank you, Tom, for joining us tonight.
Good to be with you tonight.
Yeah, no, pleasure. And folks, keep an eye out, because February is going to be a little bit different in regards to Faith and Geekery, due to a number of commitments and otherwise, and holidays. We are going to be dipping away. However, we're not going to leave you without stuff to watch and to listen to, but we're not going to give it away just yet. So it's a bit of a mystery. It's not always going to be full episodes, but there'll be a whole kind of thing to look forward to, and we'll let you know in due course about that.
Exciting.
Other than that, Becca, is there anything left to say?
You have been listening to Faith and Geekery, home of nerdy rabbit holes and curious digging. And if you do want to come and join us on Discord and continue the conversation, or get Tom's recipe for tablet, please do so. Until then, hold on to the hope, keep well, and wonder.